The Motorola Moto Edge 50 Fusion and the Moto Edge 50 Pro are similar smartphones in many ways, but they have distinctive features that will have you thinking about which of them to buy. Come with me. Both the Motorola Edge 50 Fusion and the Motorola Edge 50 Pro were announced in April 2024. They are both on sale in the market now. They both run Android 14. As a matter of fact, they are similar in many ways, but have a few exceptional differences that are enough to have you think about a buying decision. Let's look at the similarities. First and foremost, they look alike. They almost have the same height thanks to the 6.7-inch display that they share and the similar design style. So bezels pretty much the same, outlook pretty much the same. In fact, if you're looking at them from the front, the two devices look the same and you'll be hard pressed to tell the difference between them. It isn't until you flip them over to the back that you see significant differences between these two phones. Other shared features between them are IP68 dust and water resistance. Both of them have vegan or eco leather back design. They are both dual SIM smartphones with support for eSIM. They both have stereo speakers, NFC, in-display fingerprint scanner, and the absence of a 3.5mm audio jack. Of course, you know that phone brands are dropping that feature more and more. Now on to the differences between these two phones. The first difference that I noticed was the thickness of the devices. The Edge 50 Fusion has a 7.9mm thickness, and I love that. It's really thin, right? But the Edge 50 Pro has an 8.3mm thickness. Why? Incidentally, it has a smaller battery, yet it is the thicker of the two. I suspect that difference in thickness comes from the camera mostly, because there are differences in the camera, but we'll get to that. Also, the Edge 50 Pro is heavier as well. It has a smaller battery, but it's heavier. Okay, anyway, let's go on. So I have already mentioned that they have the same display size. They have the same display type. They are both OLED panels. But the Edge 50 Pro's display has a higher refresh rate, 144 Hz, compared to the 120 Hz of the Edge 50 Fusion. Also, it has a higher resolution, 1220 times 2712 pixels. The Edge 50 Fusion has a 1080p resolution display. It's a good display, but it's just not as good as that of the Pro. Okay, at the top of the Fusion's display is a 32 megapixel selfie camera, while in the Pro, there's a 50 megapixel selfie camera, but there's also an Edge. It has autofocus. Most selfie cameras do not have autofocus. Autofocus allows you, while you're recording, for example, a video, you can move in, you can move out, and the camera will focus, will adjust its focus. That's just beautiful. Still on the cameras, when you flip both phones to the back, now they both have a 50 megapixel wide angle camera as their main cameras. They also have 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. But the Edge 50 Pro introduces a 10 megapixel telephoto lens with PDF, OIS, and up to 3 times optical zoom. What does this do? It simply means your zooming is of greater quality on the Pro than on the Fusion. I'm a fan of telephoto cameras in smartphones. The 50 Pro also has Wi-Fi 6 and more location positioning options than the 50 Fusion. Coming down to the battery, and this is where the Edge 50 Fusion has an edge, pun intended, over its Pro sibling. The 50 Fusion has a 5,000 mAh battery, while the Pro has a 4,500 mAh battery. 500 mAh is a lot. And I really wish that the Pro had a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, but it is what it is. So what has Motorola done? Well, they try to compensate. The Pro has wireless charging, 50 watts, which is fast. It also has reverse wireless charging, 10 watts, which is also fast. The 50 Fusion does not have wireless charging or reverse charge, but for its wired charging, it has a 68 watt fast charging standard, which is good. It allows you to top up the phone from 0 to 50% in 15 minutes. Not bad. But the 50 Pro has a 125 watt fast charging standard, and that allows you to charge the phone from 0 to 100 in just 18 minutes. 0 to 100 in 18 minutes. Hallelujah. I want some of that. I want some of that. I must not forget to touch on the processor. The international version of the 50 Fusion has a Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 chipset, while the Pro has a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 chipset. Yes, the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 in the Pro is a more capable, more powerful chipset, and that makes sense. I mean, with all of the extra things it can do, it definitely needs a more powerful chipset. So if money were not an issue, which of these two would you pick? Personally, I'm irked by the extra thickness of the Pro. I wish that it was thinner. I also wish that the battery was bigger. But when I consider the better display, the more powerful processor, the better cameras, and the faster charging options, if cash were not an issue, I'd definitely buy the Moto Edge 50 Pro. But if cash is an issue, I mean, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it, and you just have to buy what you can afford. The Edge 50 Fusion is a solid smartphone on its own. We're just comparing it to something better, that's all. So if that's what you can afford, you're getting a really solid, beautiful smartphone. The Edge 50 Fusion starts from $450, while the 50 Pro starts from about $560. In the European Union, you're looking at about 349 euros and 449 euros respectively. In the UK, you're looking at about £385 for the 50 Fusion and £486 for the 50 Pro. That's it on this comparison between the Motorola Moto Edge 50 Fusion and the Moto Edge 50 Pro. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, and let's keep rocking. I'll see you next time.